Welcome, everyone. Jazz After Dark, special holiday, after holiday edition. I hope you guys all had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year's out there. One of the gifts that I got was this, it's a glass that has like a bullet through it or something. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of cool. I got a handful of them, so if you see me drinking one of those and everybody's safe, we just happen to have a glass that somehow somebody put a bullet through without breaking the glass. Tonight I'll be enjoying the old Buffalo Trace to kick off the first Jazz After Dark in the new year. Happy 2023, by the way. It's going to be an interesting year, right? And again, a Jazz After Dark here. This is not like a quick video. This is meant to hang out, grab a drink, chill with me a little bit, learn something. In 2023, I would say it's going to be a year not to be a hero. And I mean this whether you're investing in a business, real estate, collectibles, REITs in particular, if it's some sort of interesting REIT there, master limited partnerships, the stock market. I think it's going to be the year where you say, I need to think twice about this. Also personally, and I'll get into this here because I'm going to talk about 4 things that you should have for your New Year's financial plan here. The first thing is really, you're going to have to be tighter with your dollars. I've been saying this for some time now. We went through a period of time where you had plenty of money. You were able to save enough money. Inflation was low. Things were cheap. You could buy stuff cheap. You could finance things cheap. And it was just one of those, the government was giving you money, right, for a while. And so we're past all that. And so the first thing I want you to do as a part of your plan is to kind of get back to basics. And I really don't like talking about the basics. If you're familiar with this channel, I like to get into the details, the stats, right? The geekiness, as I call it. But we're going to have to start this by being basic with your dough. You at least have to know where your dollars are going. I'm not a big fan of like the really detailed budget where you're looking at every single penny and where it's going. You should have enough interest in your money to know where it's going. But we're going to have to know that cash. And more importantly, there's something called the velocity of money. And the velocity of money was at an extreme early last year. And that basically just means how quickly a dollar lands in someone's hand and then leaves it. The Fed actually tracks this. I think it's either the New York or the Kansas City Fed. And so we know that now the Fed is raising rates, which is slowing down the housing market by like 35%, just greater than 35% at the moment. It affects everything from home builders to Home Depot, right, to Whirlpool, to all the people that supply things that go into a home. It starts affecting jobs from people that fix your sprinklers, make you a new pool, add on to your house, fix your air condition, all that, or put new air conditioning in, things like that. And so the first thing people do is they start cutting out their big purchases. Right? If you know that the velocity of money has basically just crashed, right? You now get a dollar and people are holding on to it a little more. And that's partly skewed because of the lack of home transactions, right? Velocity of money is the actual metric is skewed a little bit by the large ticket items there. They do a good job of offsetting that, but it's still partially skewed by that. So tip number 1, really simply, how about if a dollar comes in and you get it in your hand, or $10 or whatever you're used to, the money comes into your bank account. Why don't we play a game in 2023 and say, okay, I've got these dollars, and every day that I go about my life, someone's trying to separate me from these dollars. Now, some are going to win, just like sports. You can't win every game, right? You're going to let some people win. You're going to feel bad for them, or you know what I mean, right? You're going to buy something because you want. You're going to donate money because you think you should, and it's going to the right cause. But let's play a game that people are trying to separate you from your money. Who are you going to let win? Right? Think about it that way. So the first must-have in your financial plan is going to be any kind of understanding about your dollars. I'm not going to say a budget, but any kind of understanding of where those dollars are going. Tip number 2, I'm not going to beat a dead horse here, so I'll go quickly through this and I'll just share you an example. Tip number 2 is, I know we're all excited. New year, going to save some money. Stock market's cheap. Housing's going to likely get cheap here soon. I'm about ready to invest a lot of money. Well, before you do that, make sure you know how much you need to invest. We're financial advisors. We are not retirement asset collectors, right? So we want you to do good with all of your dollars and make sure that your life, whatever wealth means to you, is, you're heading in that direction. And so I'm like the only advisor that says, just save whatever it is you need to for retirement and then cut it out. Go do something else with your money. And I want to show you here real quick. This is our new retirement planner. I just want to show you how you would use this. Like if you're one of our clients or you're thinking about joining us, this is where we start. And let's use the example. Louis 43, wants to retire at 61. He's going to live 20 years. He's got 316 saved already. He's got some return expectations. We have a salary in here, how much he's saving into what accounts and how he's going about it, and then what he's hoping for out of retirement. And our planner here doesn't say you need to put away lots of money, right? You see anywhere on here where it's saying like, oh my gosh, this is going to be horrible. You're not going to have enough money. No, we actually put it over here to say, look, okay, these are your goals. I get it. Unfortunately, you're not going to last enough. Your money's not going to last long enough. So to get to that goal, you can either change your savings here with us at Jazz from 6,000 to 6,420, or you could just go to your 401k and change it from 5% to 5.4. But whatever you choose to do, stop it after that, right? Don't do any more unless you have a different goal. But for retirement, that's it. That's going to be really important this year. And I'm going to get kind of grumpy about this because you don't have extra dollars to be putting away. Or my presumption is in 2023, we're not going to have all these extra dollars to just throw into a retirement account, throw into a brokerage account, throw into some savings account. We're going to have to be a little tighter with our money. Things are more expensive. There's less money in the supply out there, which there's still a lot of money out there with what the government did, but there's less money that's going to be landing in your hands. So tip number 2, put the exact amount you need for retirement. Yours is different than the next guy, the next girl, the next guy, the next girl. Save that, move on. Let's get on to other things that you can do with your dollars. Tip number 3 here, think one extra layer deeper. The money that you save, however you decide, right? You go, I know how much I need to save and I know what accounts I have available to me. Now, when you start figuring out what accounts they're going to go into, think of the dollar that you're saving. Yes, the advantage is it's for retirement. You're doing right by yourself and you'll be able to live hopefully a great retirement. But think one level deeper and say, can I get an advantage out of that? Can I somehow get one extra additional advantage by putting that dollar away? Maybe it is in, well, I'm going to do part of my money in the stock market for retirement, and part of my money is going to go towards this property that I rent in the mountains or whatever, and I hope to pay it off by retirement. You know what I mean? The advantage being that you've got that equity building up and you're also having the income from it in retirement. Let's think one extra layer deeper there. Now, for me in particular, what I'm talking about here gets a little bit unique because I'm going to refer to the stock market, right? So I'm thinking just a little bit extra layer deeper here. And I'm saying, for the most part, people ask me, should I put money in a Roth IRA or should I put money in an IRA, traditional IRA? What should I do, assuming you're able to contribute to both? Well, let me do something here real quick with you. Here is Nest Egg. This is a very fine-tuned financial plan that we've done for Mr. Duke Ellington. This is Duke and Edna, by the way. They are famous, or Duke was a famous jazz musician. And here's what we have. On the right, I'm going to make all this real simple. After doing the planning for Mr. Duke and Miss Edna there, Mrs. Edna, we have that they're going to be just fine. They're going to make their retirement just fine. They're going to end with an extra bunch of money here, right? So they're going to do just fine. They can weather storms and stuff. We have not changed their retirement returns. And by the way, here is what we've planned for, right? Current. And here is what we're proposing, what change we're proposing we make. So down here, I said, well, currently Duke is putting $6,000 into a Roth. And he's told me he'd like to continue that. Well, if we get more than one advantage by putting $6,000 in, how could we do it? Well, what if we put $6,000 in an IRA instead? So I'm proposing that Duke does not put into his Roth. Instead, he puts in his IRA. And so The difference between the way life was going to work out and the way life is proposed to work out with this change is he ends up with another $200,000 or so. How on earth can you end up with $200,000 more unless we've modeled Duke here to be like 20 years old? How is this simple little change going to do that? See, the extra advantage is in how Duke is paying the taxes. His total lifetime tax is lower, which means his whole bucket, the $1 million, now gets to stay more in his hands instead of the government getting a little bit of it, right? I think we all agree that we as individuals can spend our dollars better than the government can. And that's by design. The government should not be able to spend money so efficiently, and they don't. So by making that small change, it's not, and I make this clear, it's definitely not that 6,000 is somehow growing to be more. The returns are fixed. We're not assuming any different return. What we're assuming is now his tax life on a year-to-year basis changes. And so now by getting to keep more of those dollars instead of give them to the government, those other dollars get to grow more. The dollars that didn't go to the government continue to stew in the pot and earn those returns through life. So the moral of step number 3 here is get one extra advantage for everything you do with your dollar. And going back to the example of some retirement and some vacation property that you rent out or something, what do you get for that? Is there any advantage to you trying to pay off that mortgage? Did you get the mortgage 2 years ago and it's like 2.5% or something ridiculous? Well, let's see. Is there an advantage to you putting money into something that is saving you 2.5%? Or should we do something else with it to maybe net a larger return? I don't know. So that's that one there. And tip number 4 is, for goodness sakes, this is going to be a big one this year. If you're over 40 years old, who's over 40 years old? I hope you'll leave a comment. I'd like to know the audience that's watching this video. I guess I could look it up, but I'd be curious. Who's watching? I would venture to guess that the kids have not made it this far. 12 minutes in a video, that's ridiculous. I can't watch that long. So if you're over 40, you've probably stuck with me. And I'm specifically pointing to you guys. Have the exact investments that you need in the exact accounts that you need them and nothing more. Don't be a hero this year, right? It's going to be easy to want to be a hero because the market's getting cheaper and you think, wow, I could be more aggressive. If you can handle it, okay. But if you can't, don't do it. Here's my example. I don't know why it says window dressing proof. I didn't change that, so that has nothing to do with this slide. But we're showing the same Duke and Edna Ellington here. And what we're finding is that the plan is successful as long as they land somewhere very close to what we would call moderate return, 60-40. Anybody would call that moderate, right? The trouble is they have a 40-60 position. That doesn't mean that they need to take more risk, by the way. They've got 39% in stocks, essentially US stocks. They only need 38, so we can actually take a little bit less risk there. We could spread them out a little bit. Notice down here, we're pointing out real estate. We could up our real estate exposure. Where would we get that money from? Well, we have way too much in bonds, right? So we could reduce the amount in bonds and move that over to real estate. Duke can even carry some cash. So he doesn't need to be a hero in this case. And remember, that's with him being successful. So the fourth tip of the evening here is, by having exactly the investments you want to make your plan successful, then you don't have to question everything else. Yeah, I get it. The market will go up and down. I have some clients that no matter the market goes up real quick, like 5%, or goes down real quick, 5%, they call, they want to change their plan. And it's like, look away for a little bit, right? So that's the point of the story is, if you have exactly what you need to make the plan successful or within an acceptable margin of error, then why try to do more? Is that like the laziest comment that anybody could give you? Why do more than you have to? So see, I'm 40 years old, so some calculations call me a millennial, some don't. I don't like being called a millennial, but I don't know what the other generation is. So I'm in that mindset of like, Why do you want me to do more than I have to? But then on the other side, true Gemini here, I'm like, do 3 times more than you have to, and you'll be happy even if if you're not as successful with all that extra effort. If you're even just kind of more successful than this, you'll be happy, right? So I'm at this weird tug of war. But when it comes to the retirement saving, I really am becoming an old grumpy man when I see other advisors say, what are you doing? You haven't maxed out your Roth IRA. What are you doing? Your 401k is still not filled up. What do you mean by that? Did anybody tell you to do that? If you needed that for your goal, then I could understand somebody pushing you to do it. But if you don't need it, then shut up. Like, just let me save what I need to save, have the investments that I need to have, and that's my little bucket. Or some people do multiple buckets. All right, put it in one big bucket. Okay, everything is moving along just as it should be. I'm not trying to or bake a cake at 500 degrees for 10 minutes when it needs 350 degrees for 25 minutes or whatever. I'm trying to do this just as I need to go. And then you know what? I'm going to go work on the rest of my dollars. Because retirement investing, truthfully, it should be boring. Because once we figure it out, we make minor changes along the way. Okay, great. Now what else can we work on? Tell me more about that property that you were paying off. Would it make more sense to use that equity to buy a smaller vacation property and make a little extra more dollars there? Would it make sense to put the extra money into a brokerage account, then borrow against it to buy a bigger property? I don't know. Think about that extra layer. That's the last 2 minutes of this video here, was just think a little bit deeper. Tip number 1, get tighter with your dough, know where it's going, and expect that money is not going to move as fast as it used to. Tip number 2, only save what you need to save for retirement, man. Tip number 3, get one extra advantage. With your retirement savings, just get one extra advantage. With $1 that you use to trade in your car and buy another car, get one extra advantage on that dollar, right? Your taxes, many states have, where if you pay your property taxes right on time, then there's a discount. If you pay it a month later, it costs a little bit more, a month later, and so on and so on. Pay early, get that advantage. Every little thing you can this year. I think it's going to be important. Anyways, that was a little longer than I was thinking there. You guys enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you tomorrow night. Hey, by the way, jazzwealth.com/2023. You get all the 2023 numbers free. We'll send it to you. There's no catch, gimmick. We're not going to sell your email or anything. But you're welcome to check it out. We'll send it to you. And if you like, we'll send you more stuff, but we won't spam you or any of that goodness. All right. Enjoy. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.